The more we know, the more we feel our ignorance, the more we feel how much remains unknown. You are now in a state in which a fly would be, whose microscopic eye was changed to one similar to that of man, and you are wholly unable to associate what you see with your former knowledge. Life is made up, not of great sacrifices or duties, but of little things in which smiles and kindnesses and small obligations, given habitually, are what win and preserve the heart and secure comfort. Nothing is so fatal to the progress of the human mind as to suppose our views of science are ultimate, that there are no mysteries in nature, that our triumphs are complete, and that there are no new worlds to conquer. Nothing is so dangerous to the progress of the human mind than to assume that our views of science are ultimate, that there are no mysteries in nature, that our triumphs are complete, and that there are no new worlds to conquer. But if the two countries or governments are at war, the men of science are not. That would, indeed, be a civil war of the worst description. We should rather, through the instrumentality of the men of science, soften the asperities of national hostility. Cuvier had even in his address and manner the character of a superior man, much general power and eloquence in conversation, and great variety of information on scientific as well as popular subjects. I should say of him that he is the most distinguished man of talents I have ever known on the continent. Cavendish was a great man with extraordinary singularities. His voice was squeaking, his manner nervous, he was afraid of strangers, and seemed when embarrassed to articulate with difficulty. He wore the costume of our grandfathers, was enormously rich but made no use of his wealth. Cavendish lived latterly the life of a solitary, came to the club dinner and to the Royal Society, but received nobody at his home. He was acute, sagacious, and profound, and I think the most accomplished British philosopher of his time. Natural science is founded on minute critical views of the general order of events taking place upon our globe, corrected, enlarged, or exalted by experiments, in which the agents concerned are placed under new circumstances, and their diversified properties separately examined. The body of natural science, then, consists of facts, is analogy, the relation of resemblance of facts by which its different parts are connected, arranged, and employed, either for popular use or for new speculative improvements. John Dalton was a very singular man. He has none of the manners or ways of the world. A tolerable mathematician, he gained his livelihood, I believe, by teaching the mathematics to young people. He pursued science always with mathematical views. He seemed little attentive to the labors of men, except when they countenanced or confirmed his own ideas. He was a very disinterested man, seemed to have no ambition beyond that of being thought a good philosopher. He was a very coarse experimenter, and almost always found the results he required. Memory and observation were subordinate qualities in his mind. He followed with ardor analogies and inductions, and however his claims to originality may admit of question, I have no doubt that he was one of the most original philosophers of his time and one of the most ingenious. The moment after, I began to respire 20 quarts of unmingled nitrous oxide. A thrilling, extending from the chest to the extremities, was almost immediately produced. I felt a sense of tangible extension highly pleasurable in every limb. My visible impressions were dazzling and apparently magnified. I heard distinctly every sound in the room and was perfectly aware of my situation. By degrees, as the pleasurable sensations increased, I lost all connection with external things. Trains of vivid visible images rapidly passed through my mind, and were connected with words in such a manner as to produce perceptions perfectly novel. I existed in a world of newly connected and newly modified ideas. I theorized. I imagined that I made discoveries. When I was awakened from this semi-delirious trance by Dr. Kinglake, who took the bag from my mouth, indignation and pride were the first feelings produced by the sight of the persons about me. My emotions were enthusiastic and sublime, and for a minute I walked round the room, perfectly regardless of what was said to me. As I recovered my former state of mind, I felt an inclination to communicate the discoveries I had made during the experiment. I endeavored to recall the ideas. They were feeble and indistinct. One collection of terms, however, presented itself, and with the most intense belief and prophetic manner, I exclaimed to Dr. Kinglake, "Nothing exists but thoughts. The universe is composed of impressions, ideas, pleasures, and pains.